So you're going to tell us about the cost.
The cost. Not only the cost, but the origin and the prevention.
Okay.
And I have already given this talk twice this morning on Hungerford Footbridge. And so I hope I get as good reception here as I did there. So it's the cost, the origin and prevention. And this is rather gloomy because I'm going to do it through the pathways to prison and the pathways to dementia. But let's look on the bright side and see the enormous amount of money that can be saved if we go about it right, and the number of lives that we can rescue if we get it right. The UK cost of mental disorders, measured in billions, is 113, as we've heard once, from Feinberg and Sahakian's estimate. But that excludes, there's the Sahakian's list on the left in green. You can run your eye down. It excludes on the right those blue items and the red one at the bottom. The red one being violence and crime. 124 billions. Now, you'll question, I'm sure, whether the pathway to prison is developmental. Are the origins of crime developmental? So I want to trace back from young prisoners to early life. And I'm going by means of the schools and SEN, special educational needs. This graph shows you the correlation. It's a beautiful Berlin study of 13,000 children of special educational needs related to birth weight of the child. And if you look at that green spot, it shows that the 4 times as likely for a birth weight of 1.5 kilos, and if the birth weight is 0.75 kilo, then it's 7 times as likely to be special educational needs for the child. Now, if you trace these SEN children, you'll find that 9 out of 10 of them, you'll find them followed all the way through there, and 9 out of 10 are born under 39 weeks. And excluded from school, the SEN children are 6 times the rate. If they reach 16 to 18 and are not in education, employment or training, then 3 out of 4 of these are SEN. We get to prison, and 1 in 4 SEN, a half are illiterate, a half are violent, and 86% were school excluded. And they're likely to have been SEN. 10% of children continue with SEN, that's 80,000 per annum. If they get special help before 5.5 years, then that is critical to their education, and they are likely to join the mainstream. But there are few changes after that these transition tables show. If you study these, you'll find they're fairly constant. If you look at fetal growth restriction, then even full-term fetal growth restriction is likely to lead to poor IQ and skills, learning skills. Preterm, under 1.5 kilograms, hearing reduced 25%, and under 1.25, retina reduced 67%. Extremely preterm is likely to mean cerebral palsy. Now, I'm going to skip a few because I know that we're getting a bit behind, but you may be able to take in that screen in that time. This is the famous or notorious Dutch hunger winter, which showed very clearly that it was the children who were conceived during or soon after the worst of the famine in Holland who suffered worst, and that continued to the next generation as well. Now, can we stop this damage at a very early time? Because I know Michael will come out shortly with highly limited information which shows, as he's suggested, that at conception a lot of damage is already done, so it's too late to do anything. But this remarkable study of 2,000 women showed that you could virtually eliminate neural tube disorders, and you could halve cardiovascular disorders and a whole number of others. In clinical work, attending to the man's and the woman's disease, toxins, lifestyle, as well as nutrition, and without even using essential fatty acids, which I'm certain would have achieved even better results, but a monitored cohort achieved 327 healthy babies. That was 89% of the 367, all full-term, full-weight babies, not just conceptions, but healthy babies, even after most of the couples had come with problems of infertility or malformations. So can you stop these things? Yes, you can. There is a comparison table of supplements used which vary enormously, and I think this should be studied by all people in this practice. It's also correlated with birth rate, with birth weight for particular nutrients. In the Gambia, see, the veggie season conceived children are 10 times less likely to die from their disease than the ones in the grainy, what they thought was the more nutritious season. It's not only a matter of nutrition and lifestyle, but stress and shock in childhood, in late adolescence, leads to stressed children. On the right-hand column there, birth problems with parent loss combined leads to, by the age of 18, 22% more violent crime. Around conception, there is complete epigenetic resetting. So nobody can say that that early nothing is happening. Epigenetic factors, for instance, the growth of placenta and heart are affected by changes in those two genes, and some of these changes are passed on to the next generations. And the effects epigenetically are different in various parts of the brain. Dementia is a developmental problem. Is that true? Underlying Alzheimer's disease could be fetal program reactivated, that is apoptosis or cell death, which is part of the design in the new brain for regeneration, mitochondrial action, and association with diabetes. Michael wanted me to put in something about the count of people with dementia. Well, there you are. Globally, it's going up from now 47 million to 132 million by 2050. The UK getting on towards a million now, more than doubling by 2050. Just to also, Dominic's been telling us that too. The cost of dementia in billions, well, you can see those figures. In brackets, they are just rough estimates. But there are other problems, if you start before conception, that can be prevented, at least with considerable reductions. Cardiovascular, diabetes, obesity, and hearing. So if we add those in, we come to a total of 384 billion. And some of those, useful for political reasons, the ones starred on the right, they can be give an early return on investment. I'm not pretending we can stop all that, of course, but to think that every 1% inroads you make on that, you are saving billions of pounds. And think of the number of lives that would otherwise be appallingly damaged, and the whole family as well. That is the bright side. There is just a tremendous potential here for moving towards Manor Health's vision of gifted children, and this waste is unnecessary. So I say educate for conception for future generations. I'll leave you that. Thank you very much.